All right. Hey, welcome to Tuesday. No special day tie-in today. It's just a Tuesday. But I am making my project for DEF CON, which is a Raspberry Pi that's going to print files out from the Interplanetary File System, which you should totally Google right now or tune in tomorrow for my What the Wednesday, which we'll talk about it. So cool. It's a blockchain-based file system that basically makes the web permanent and secure and delightful. What am I doing? I'm building an enclosure for it today out of Lego, but also custom Lego bits, because there's some pieces of this that, like an arcade button, that don't fit well in a square hole because they are basically round pegs. Whoa! So I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to make my own custom Lego and also talk about some of the other options out there at the same time. So previous videos for this project, we've already assembled the Raspberry Pi touchscreen right here and gotten it printing on the thermal printer, which delightfully fits right into this sort of 6-high stack of Legos. And I can fit one on top, which is just delightful. So that'll be no problem. It's rectangular, everything's swell. So the 3 extra pieces that I'm fabricating, these are just test ones to see how the sizing has come out on this model that I got from Thingiverse, just to make sure before I print a bunch of other things, how it's gonna go. That, you know, if I print like 60 pieces of custom Lego and then they don't fit, that's gonna be very, 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 very sad. So I don't wanna do that. The design as it currently stands has the screen in the bottom. This is a 32 by 32 blue Lego shield, I think they're called, or plate or something. I think it's a plate, like a base plate. So it's gonna have space for the Pi screen down here. It's gonna have a laser cut acrylic clear front, so that you'll be able to see the guts, but also I'll be able to laser on the name of the project. It's gonna have a little camera there, ideally, for scanning QR codes so that we can print out things from extra places on the file system. There are going to be 6 arcade buttons on the sides because that's where they fit. And the thermal printer is going to be mounted on the top. So the extra pieces, oh yeah, and then it's going to be, so we have some space at the blockchain village, but I'm not going to be able to stay there the whole time. So I'll have a couple of 2-hour slots, but besides that, I'm going to be wearing it basically as a side, like a crossbody bag. So I got this guitar strap, which, you know, obviously, yeah, it's a little dark, but, you know, I'll wash my hair once, it'll fade, it'll be great. But it matches everything else quite well. The thing is that it attaches via these little buttons, and I don't have those, and especially not, I don't think anyone makes ones that are compatible with Lego, so we're gonna make those, and we're gonna put them on Thingiverse so that we can pay it forward. So besides the buttons, which is this guy, I'm going to make a 2x4 that sits in there and has this button sticking out from the side. I also need to make some things to hold the acrylic in place, which we're going to see how that works. I don't know, that'll be the last thing I print. And then, yeah, we may have to end up finding a different way to do that. But then also this sort of 4x2, sort of like one of these, but then 4 high block with a brick on top. And that's going to hold the arcade button. So it's got this 28.5mm hole in the middle. I've spared you the pain of seeing all of my like little scribbled calculations and stuff. You can see like where we went with that. You can use calipers to get really accurate dimensions of things, but I am so lazy I've not yet bought those. Instead, I'm the other kind of lazy and I just use a tape measure. And it usually is plenty accurate for what I'm doing. We're not doing like rocket science yet. We're building a little enclosure out of Lego, so everything's gonna be fine. So our friend Gustavo says, hello! Hey Gustavo, what's up? Let's take a look at what the internet has to say about this. So on GrabCAD, they have a tutorial about Lego basic dimensions. And I was mainly curious about this because I wanted to know if they're in metric or imperial dimensions, which is going to be, like, I prefer to work in metric for 3D printing because it feels a lot more, it's a lot easier to think in the dimensions of millimeters than it is to think in like 16th and 32nds of inches. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And so I'm really happy to find that they are indeed designed in metric, even though they appear to be 5/4 of an inch, so like 1.2 or 1.25 inches long for a 4x4, which makes it, what is it, 5/8 of an inch, 5/16 of an inch, which is roughly 8 millimeters per like 1x1 unit. Ugh, it's such a pain. So just go with metric and it'll be much nicer. So then they have a little bit about how big the studs are and how the height, how tall the thing is. With a millimeter, I can't get down to like 9.6 millimeters in accuracy, so it's really useful to have an like authoritative source for this. And then I'm also going to be modifying these Lego bricks by Poke Summit or Poke Summit. I'm not sure. Is it about Pokemon? Is it about Hawaiian fish dishes? Is it about just like prodding people with your fingers? I don't know. But anyway, they made these cool bricks that you can get on Thingiverse. Now, I wanted to know, first off, I had to check with their Thingaview, you know, what does the bottom of it look like? Wait, why are you not letting me rotate now? There we go. And they did indeed model the little holes on the bottom that sort of stick out and grab stuff, so that's good. I also wanted to check what other people's comments said about the sizing. Now, someone says that the top prints were a little small in their print in ABS, and I'm not sure if that's because maybe they had some shrinkage on their printer, because other people said that they had perfect fits that sort of held on well but let go well. And so that's why I decided to first print out some demo ones. And if those end up with too small of studs on the top, then I'll go with Ballonius Maximus's model that has slightly larger studs. Okay, so let's have a look. What I have here is, and I'm basically going to test these and then go through the process of modeling my custom ones, all right? So I've got my little thingy here. I should really be using a sharper knife, like an X-Acto blade, but I didn't grab it yet. We'll see how this goes. If it's too painful, we'll just, well, first off, I can test. Okay, that does seem a little small on the top there. It's really just sort of falling off. So I might go with the other model, but let's see. What about this guy? Same thing. Okay, and they do look a little small in comparison. Do you see that? Okay, let's cut this apart. The reason that I have this extra material on the bottom is because it helps the model or the print stick to the bed and not get warped or anything, but I don't need to use any extra adhesive, so it's really nice for that. It's called a brim, as opposed to a raft, which prints a whole extra layer of material underneath. And I forget what a skirt is exactly. Somebody tell us what a skirt is. I think a skirt is actually just, it's like a brim, but it's not connected to the model. It's just like a little outline of the model outside of it, which I'm not sure why people do that, but it seems to help sometimes. Okay. With not too accurate trimming on this, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a test. I am going to actually take it down a little bit further. There we go. Okay. Let's see. How about the top? Ooh, it's not really fitting, is it? Oh, that's very nice. Okay, so the bottom fits. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, man, yeah. Oh, listen to that. Okay, I got to do this by the microphone because it's so good. That's like the sound of my Lego dreams. This is so good. Yeah. If you're wondering about the blue base plate, you can just get it on Amazon, by the way. So, what I'm going to do is take the other person's model with the slightly scaled up studs on the top, which I'm assuming has the same outer dimensions, which means that the bottom will still fit just fine. Okay, so I'm going to take those and I'm going to modify it. And I'm going to use Tinkersphere to do that. And I'll tell you what, or not Tinkersphere, Tinkercad. It's very confusing because Thingiverse is the place where you can get a bunch of free models, right? And ideally tip the creators. Tinkercad is this other thing that I use. I'm using it right now to modify the auto robot design. We'll get to that later. And then Tinkersphere is an amazing shop in New York that's basically everything that Radio Shack should have been. So let's see, download. Oh, and this person has actually this cuts out a whole extra step. Fantastic. So they've actually modified this in Tinkersphere or Tinkercad as well, which is just perfect because that's what I want to do. Beautiful. So yeah, while this loads, Tinkercad is great for combining or editing models because it can take an STL file, which is a finished 3D modeling file ready for printing, or ready for slicing, which you do in Cura or whatever, and edit it, which some programs like Onshape and Fusion 360 don't do very easily. Because it's at that point it's like a kind of a surface and not a solid object as far as I understand it, which is very vague. But Tinkercad has no problem with it, so that's cool. There's another program that you can use though, and that is Mesh Mixer, which is what I use to create my weird little rubber ducky version of myself because of reasons. If you're curious about that, it's because there's this process called rubber duck debugging where you talk to a rubber duck about your problem and tell it what you've tried and what didn't go so well, and then presumably by talking it out you manage to figure out the issue. And so I made one of these as kind of a debugging tool / good luck charm for my desk. With my own head on it, and you can get that also in the link in the description to this video. That's actually from a model that was captured at Hack Manhattan. I matched it up with a rubber ducky that I found on Thingiverse. So good. Anyway, all kinds of stuff you can do with Thingiverse and Tinkercad together in a beautiful, glorious union. So what are we gonna do here? First, I'm gonna ungroup these guys because they're all one piece as far as I can. Wait, are they? Oh no, they're separate. Okay. Whoops. Well, here is kind of cool. You can see how this person, Polonius Maximus, edited it. So they just put new studs on top of the old ones, which confirms my confidence that the rest of the model is just going to be the same. This is going to make my life way easier. So gorgeous. Whoa! So I regrouped those, and when you group stuff, so the way that you make stuff in Tinkercad is that you create solids, and then you create holes, which are the opposite of a solid that's a void in the same shape. And you can kind of swap them back and forth between those too. So I can make a hole that's shaped like that. But when you group stuff, it sort of takes all that stuff and shoots it together into one coherent shape. And that's the same way that you attach two shapes together, or two holes together, or whatever. It's all done through grouping. So I was kind of assuming, yeah, these are... Okay. So I'm going to have to ungroup these because they're all one piece right now. And then I'm going to... So this is one... Yeah. You can kind of tell because they are the same color. So it looks like when it's all grouped together, the three blocks move as one, and so I can't operate on them individually, which is what I want. If I ungroup them, then the studs come off, as well as the blocks being separated. So what I'm going to do is select all the studs and one block, and group those together again. And now I should have a solid! Yay! Okay, and I don't actually need this 3 guy at all, so I'm going to delete it completely. Boop, boop, boop. Ha! and take this guy and group that. Cool. Now I have two blocks to play with, one of which is an ugly color, so I'm going to change that. It has no effect on the model itself, but it just makes it look nicer. So now I have two coherent blocks with larger studs that I can mess with. That's great. That's exactly what I want. So what am I going to do? First, I'm going to try making the button one. Oh, and you know what I should have done? I can just use a cone, I think. Yeah, that should be okay. What I should have done is probably created a button in a separate program already. But what I'm going to do is just do it on the fly. Yay! Okay, so my grid is shown in the bottom right of the window, which you can't see super great in this view. Actually, if I remove myself for a second. Whoa! I'm going to hide me. Where am I? There we go. No, you still can't see it. If I make the thing shorter, you can see in the top here, or in the bottom of the window, how it says snap grid and 1.0 millimeters, and that means that the grid is in is in millimeter dimensions, which makes me very happy. That's an important thing to check in any app that you're working in. Okay, so I'm going to take this cone, which is in millimeters, and I'm going to shrink it down to 15 by 15, and I'm holding shift so that it keeps stable dimensions, because in my drawing, let's check this out. In my drawing, I want the button to be 1.5 centimeters on the outside so that it sort of holds the strap in place, and 6 millimeters on the inside. That's the part where the strap is actually going to be. So this hole is about 5 millimeters, and I want it to be a little sturdier, so I'm going to make it 6, and it'll be fine because this has a slot so it flexes. And then I want that sort of 6 millimeter thing to be 4 millimeters long, so a little cylinder, and then 5 millimeters of flare. So I've got this base of the pyramid that is 1.5 by, or 15 by 15 millimeters. And I don't really care about how tall it is right now. I'm going to go ahead and create my cylinder, which is going to be, the views are a little limited in Tinkercad, which is why I don't like to use it for very intense work. The other thing is that you're pretty limited in your parametric abilities, so it always snaps to this grid. And that can be a pain because if stuff is on a 0.5 millimeter, wait, can I do, oh, I can make it a 0.5 millimeter. Oh, that's so beautiful, never mind. Well, it's still kind of annoying. It's because it's harder to align stuff. You have to do it kind of by clicking and dragging, and that's a pain. But it's really useful for stuff like this. That's really sort of simple. So this one is going to be 6 by 6. And it's gonna end up being just like a couple of millimeters long. Let's make it actually 5 millimeters long so that it projects into the Lego piece, and I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees. Okay. Actually, you know, I'm going to put it back to there, and now I can center it on the cylinder. I'm going to pull it up 6 millimeters off of the ground. It gives me a little sort of scale stretching meter there, if you can see sort of underneath the cylinder. And now I'm going to move it. I'm going to move to the top view. Oh, and you know what I can do, actually, is I can create a big box that's a hole. I'm going to shrink it. And I'm going to put it at 6 millimeters from, or no, 5 millimeters from the base. So move it up 5 millimeters. This one's actually at 6 millimeters right now, so I'm going to move it down to 5 again. Okay, so now I've got this hole. I'm going to intersect it with my cone, so that the cone cuts off there. Looks like it needs to be a bit bigger. Ah! Now, I don't actually know how big that makes the base of the pyramid, so it looks like I need to stretch the pyramid a bit so that it's more narrow there. Here, wait. And I'm basically going to try and finagle that so that it's the same diameter as our cylinder. There we go. So that, oh, no, don't want to save page as, go away. I'm right-clicking or double-clicking on the, or two-finger clicking on the Mac in order to rotate this, or orbit. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna increase the height of this cylinder. Actually, first I'm gonna group this big cone and the cube so that it cuts off. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to make this cylinder one taller. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to hold shift during that. Okay, one taller, and I'm gonna move it one down so that I'm absolutely sure that it intersects. Hey, told you to go down. 1 millimeter. Ah, work with me here. There we go. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to group these. So this whole thing is about 10 millimeters tall, which is the 9 millimeters that I want it to be, plus 1 millimeter so that it will definitely intersect with the Lego brick. So I'm going to take this guy and rotate it 90 degrees. Thump. And move it over here. And vaguely position it in the center. That's kind of good. Can I budge it? Oh, I can budge it. Nice. I just hit the arrow key and I was able to budge. That made me really happy. Ooh, and I can use the grid lines here. Okay, so if I put the Lego itself over here, it's sort of got 1 foot on either side of those dimension markers. I can budge this guy over. If I click on the top, I can get a really accurate view. So there we go. Just gonna move that in there. The issue is that it's still an isometric view, so I'm still getting some shifting relative to the grid lines because of perspective. This is why I tend to use different software for more intense jobs that are more parametric. But this looks okay. So I'm going to meld those two. The thing about this is that it's a guitar button, it doesn't have to be perfect, so group. Nice. Alright, so now I'm going to export this as, and I'm just going to export the part that I have selected as an STL file. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to ungroup it again. Or no, I'm going to copy it. Paste it over there. Just sort of stick it in the corner. And now I'm going to ungroup this one again. Because I want to make other things. And I can always edit the other one pretty easily, but I'm pleased that it exists now. In fact, that does look off-center. Ah, so painful. I'm gonna live with it because we're on a schedule. Okay, so 2 other things to make. We've got to make a big tall one that has a 28.5 millimeter hole in it. The easiest way for me to do this is gonna be to just stretch this brick. So how tall is it right now? It is 11.5 tall. I'm going to add 29 millimeters for the height of 3 bricks. So if it's 11.5, I'm going to take it up to... Technically it's 28.8 millimeters, but I'm not going to quibble over that. I mean, they're Legos, they'll fit together pretty okay. So 29 plus 11.5, just to make sure that I don't mess this up, it's going to be 40.5. Okay, cool. Cool. And that 9.6. So 28.8 is 9.6 times 3 millimeters. Which is the height of 3 bricks without the studs, because that's what I'm basically doing, is inserting 3 bricks height into here. So I'm going to take this 11.5, I'm going to stretch it without holding the shift key so that I just stretch it in the vertical dimension, and it's going to go up to 40.5, so 40. Oh no, it's taking the studs too. Oh, we can fix this. We can ungroup it again. Ha 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 ha! Excellent. So actually, what I'm going to do is stretch this. How do I do this? I'm going to stretch it downwards. There we go. Wait, why is it? Oh, it's 11.4 now because there's a 0.1 tall or something like that. Okay, cool. So if it's 11.4, oh no, it's still including the studs. Okay, so this guy is 11.4 also. Oh yeah, because of the studs on the top. That doesn't matter. I'm still adding 29 millimeters, so it's gonna be 40.4. Cool. And I'm gonna drag it down 27.4. Okay, gotta zoom out. Oh, curses. It's still getting those studs stretched because they're still attached. Right. Okay, how can I do this? So the block itself is 9.6 millimeters. I need to add 28.8 to that. So then we get 38.2, is that right? Let's double check. No, it's 38.4, I think. Let's double check. 28 plus 9 is 37. And then 0.6 plus 0.8 is 1.4, so yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Most of 3D modeling is doing little bits of math, and especially once you get into more complex stuff, like you have to remember all the geometry and trig and stuff that you forgot pointedly after you had a math teacher that you despised. Never mind. So what I'm gonna do is ruthlessly chop off the top of this brick with its studs, I think. Can I do that though? I don't know if I can position it like tightly enough. Let's see. Yeah. I wish there were a way to like snap something to another object, but I don't think I can. I can get down to 0.1 millimeters, which is nice. So, oh, I should double check that these bricks are the right height. They are the proper height, so that's good. Wait, that was a real brick. Yes, the 3D printed ones are the right height. Cool. Use the block to chop the things off. This is good. Okay, it's going to be 9.6 millimeters off the ground. So I've edited the grid. There's a dog flipping out outside. Oh my. So now I'm taking it down to 9 point... won't let me do 9.6. How infuriating. Uh-oh. Didn't mean to resize it. No, what I want to do is... there we go, 9.6. Ha! Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to extend that to cover the whole thing. Again, this is like not the most technical kind of 3D modeling, but it works for modding files, which I like. So I'm going to group these two. The whole rectangle and the block that has the little studs on it. Okay, now I have a rectangle and a bunch of studs that are separate. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, cool. My rectangle is 9.6 millimeters high. I'm going to switch back to a 1 millimeter grid to snap to so that I can make this taller. Okay, so we're going to drag it from 9.6 down to, okay, 9.6 plus 28.8, 38.4. Okay, cool. Is that right? 38. Yeah, okay. 38.6. We're going to take that up to 38.4. Okay. I think we did it. And now I got to remerge these folks here, or group, that's the word. Stop making everything beige. Let's go like some nice reddy color. They do have some really nice colors in here, but this particular one seems to really want to be beige. So now, how tall is the entire model? Tell me that. It says it's 40.3, which sounds good to me. All right, so the next thing that I need to do is make another cylinder. And this one is going to be 28.5 millimeters in diameter. 28. Snap to 0.5. There we go. Cool. I may not actually be able to center this, but it'll be close enough. And you're not going to tell on me, I'm assuming. So if you do, I'll find you at DEF CON and beat you up. I'm not making threats on my live stream. Okay. So I'm going to rotate this by 90 degrees and move it to where I think would be good. It gets pretty thin in here, but I think it'll be printable. We'll just use some support material. I'm going to try and sort of move around and see if this looks good. Yeah, you can't like go upside down in this. It's kind of weird. I'm going to make it a little... Oh no, I only want to make it wider. There we go. And move it in a bit. Can I nudge? Yes, so good. Okay, cool. Just intersecting this, and then I'm gonna move the grid a little smaller again. Nudge it. Oh, slide to the left, slide to the right. Okay, that looks pretty good. I might move it down a little bit. Nope, that moved it towards me. How can I... Not sure there's a way to do that, but I can just grab that. Okay. That looks pretty secure. It's about as stable as this thing is going to get, and it's going to be braced on all other sides by other bits of Lego, so I'm not worried. So this is our group. This is going to be our arcade button holder. Cool. It's got some extra bits on the bottom there, which I might get rid of. But I can do that in the slicer software, so whatevs. I'm not too concerned about structural stability here. And also, again, schedule, or else I'd be doing this in like a proper way. So it goes. So that's been exported. I'm going to copy it, put it over here for safekeeping, and then ungroup again. So the final thing that I want to do is make some little holders for the edges of my acrylic top. But I think I'm going to save that for later and get to 3D printing some stuff now because the hour draws late and I can model the rest of this stuff while I am printing the ones that I've already designed. So if you were disappointed that this is going to be a less than 1 hour stream, then sorry. I'm not sorry. This is exhausting. But yeah, I'm really excited to share the next few iterations of these things, and I'll be leaving comments on Thingiverse and sharing the updated Lego bits in case you want to put arcade buttons in a Lego enclosure, because who doesn't want to do that? It's gonna be exciting, and I'm really excited to share the final project with you as well. That's gonna be so cool. Any questions before we go? La la la. We have a question that says, what are you building? If you're curious about that, go to bit.ly/PyPrinter with both P's capitalized. Yeah, it's a project for DEF CON. The skirt is for making sure flow is active and primed before heading to the actual model, also for troubleshooting. Thank you, Scott Janusek, that's so useful. I was talking before about skirt versus raft versus brim for sort of helping your model be stable. Gustavo says, Tinkercad is an awesome tool for beginners and more and more and more. I totally agree. I think it's awesome to have some 3D modeling tools that are, like, each one has its own pros and cons, right? If I try to do this kind of work in something that handles parametric modeling better, like Onshape or Fusion 360, I would have a terrible time with it. If I tried to do it in SketchUp, that's designed more for architecture. Maya is more for sort of organic shapes and like animations and stuff. So this is really, you know, the best tool for the job in my opinion. You can go with Mesh Mixer too, whatever. But I think that Tinkercad has more built-in modeling abilities. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing. Okay, one more thing before we go. There's always one more thing because I'm like Columbo. So there is a bricks feature in Tinkercad. But don't be deceived, this does not enable you to model Lego bricks. What it does is create a Lego model of your model out of standard bricks and shows you how to build it. So if I wanted to build, and at different resolutions too, so if I wanted to build one of those things out of regular Lego, this is what it thinks is the best way to do it. So you can kind of see, like I have that block over there with the button sticking out. Like that's unfortunately the highest resolution that we can really get. And there's a bunch of tutorials on doing that. So if you are a fan of doing stuff in Lego and you want to know how you would make a particular shape, it will generate a pattern for you to build it with real-life Lego bricks. But that unfortunately is not the same as what I'm trying to do here. I got really excited when I saw that too. There's one that appears to be for Minecraft also. Oh my god, look at it! That's so cool! And instead of the Tinkercad logo, they've got a little tree there. That's pretty cool. What did they do for the Lego one? Oh yeah, they put the little Tinkercad logo there in the corner. Anyway, yeah. Excited to show you how these come out. Stay tuned. We'll be covering DEF CON. It'll be fantastic. Hit me up if you have any hot tips or want to come hang out. Find us at the Blockchain Village. I'll also be just running around with this. Again, bit.ly/PyPrinter. Both of them are capital P's. And check out the links in the description to this video for more. I hope that you had fun and learned something. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.